It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Kentucky's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Kentucky High School Athletic Association and the Kentucky High School Athletic Directors Association.
Good morning, and welcome to those of you watching online at KHSAA.tv. My name is Communications Director Joe Angolia with KHSAA. We have a very exciting partnership we're here to announce today with Special Olympics Kentucky. At this time, I'd like to welcome Commissioner Julian Tackett to the podium.
Thank you, Joe. We, several months ago, matter of fact, I guess it's been over a year ago, began discussing with the folks at Special Olympics Kentucky a partnership and how could we get involved and perhaps lend some support, more than anything, lend our name to an outstanding organization, an outstanding group of students. Several years back, we got involved with adapted sport, which allowed some of our physically challenged students to participate in our state track meeting. We've tried to experiment with that over the years, and today we're announcing a partnership between the KHSAA and Special Olympics of Kentucky to introduce unified sport to the state. And there's a difference. We want to try to pair up those intellectually challenged students with the students that are able-bodied within the school. And where we have seen it work in other states, it will be something that, frankly, both groups will learn from each other. And I suspect the group of participants now will learn more from the new people they bring in than the new people will learn. But we think it's a great opportunity to combine sport and community service and inclusion and teach this next generation of students about the fact that it's okay if some of us are different. And we do want to use the pulpit we've got to allow that. With that, I want to turn it over for just a second to the CEO of Special Olympics of Kentucky, Trish Mazzoni. Trish, if you want to step up.
I'll lower this a little bit. All right, thank you, Commissioner Tackett. This is an exciting moment for our athletes and our program. For the first time in our state, our athletes will not only run in the same meets as their classmates, those without intellectual disabilities, but they'll be teammates in the same races. Today's announcement puts Kentucky in the forefront of what Special Olympics is calling the unified generation. It's a generation where our young people in our schools lead a movement that uses unified sports to foster acceptance and inclusion. Through the years, we've seen the power of sports help break down barriers and foster greater understanding between people. Special Olympics Kentucky is proud to have been a part of that movement for well over 40 years. Every day, our school communities are taking important steps forward in the inclusion of their students with disabilities. Sports have regularly led the way. For a long time now, our Special Olympics athletes have been included and celebrated as parts of their high school teams. You may remember this past spring, high school student and Special Olympics athlete T. Salinas at Oldham County High School was brought onto the floor with his basketball team and celebrated, and they even made ESPN Sports Center. Just this fall, we've had at least two high schools in Kentucky elect Special Olympics athletes as their homecoming kings and queens. So it's a very exciting time. Today is an important next step. It helps, it's going to have unified teams of students with intellectual disabilities and without intellectual disabilities competing on the same teams. I appreciate and applaud Commissioner Tackett, the Kentucky High School Athletic Association, and all the athletic directors statewide for having that vision that unified sports will build better and stronger school communities for everyone. So we're looking forward to track and field this spring, Commissioner. Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Trish. Just for a few details, I want to be sure and get a couple of things out of the way. Number one, the KHSAA has no desire to intrude on the existing Special Olympics competition. We think this will be a great supplement. And we are looking forward to their expertise because they bring an expertise in an area that we may not have yet. We will grow in that area. Assistant Commissioners Angela Passafume and Darren Bilberry will be our primary contacts for this. If our member schools are watching and want information, it'll be a few weeks before we get the final details out, but we will roll this out with at least 4 to 5 events in track this coming spring. One of the great things about this program is it's going to also allow some opportunities for potentially some grants to help our schools with that inclusion training and with that included coaching. And we think it's an outstanding opportunity to partner up between different groups of students and different groups of adults and do great things for the students of Kentucky. So with that, we'll stay around as long as we need to if anybody has a specific question, but we certainly want to welcome Trish and her entire staff, our communications director, Mark Berger, and the entire staff from Frankfurt and all the wonderful hundreds, literally hundreds of thousands of volunteers to our organization as we work to make things better for students. Thanks very much for paying attention.
It may not require a textbook, but it's filled with valuable lessons. It may not take place in a classroom, but it's an ideal environment for learning. It may not involve a diploma, but it can help prepare Kentucky's young people for life. It's high school sports. High school sports can play a critical role in a student's overall education. In fact, studies show that students that participate in high school sports are more likely to enjoy greater levels of achievement in their academic lives. If you think high school sports are only about competition, think again. Better yet, think about attending a high school sporting event in your community. You'll be amazed by what you see. High school sports, a winning part of a complete education. This message presented by the Kentucky High School Athletic Association and the Kentucky High School Athletic Directors Association.